Hello, Pirate family. And today is Tuesday, the 15th of February. And it's not a Friday and it's not a weekly update, but I decided to make a video today because there's an opportunity. And this opportunity surrounds some concerns that we're seeing posted on social media, being discussed throughout our community that relate to bullying and more so the lack of attention that Pinckney Community Schools gives to bullying or addresses bullying. And although I generally won't get into conversations regarding problem solving on social media because it's just not the appropriate forum, I saw this as an opportunity to talk a little bit about how we respond, the realities that face us, and the challenges that face us in public education and schools in general, whether they're private or public, and more so how we respond to those challenges. And I think that's really the most important piece of this. And I really felt that on behalf of the tremendous adults, from our teachers to our support staff, our social workers, our counselors, our principals, to every adult who helps support the educational needs, the social emotional needs, and the physical needs of our students on their behalf. Because the one thing I can say, being in this district for 25 years and now being in the seat of superintendent for 9 years, is that there's no other place that I'd want my four children to receive their daily education, their safety, their well-being, than the adults here at Pinckney Community Schools. And that's one thing I think we forget, is that the adults here have chosen to become educators, to work here because they love kids and they're advocates for kids. And we do everything we can to help them to learn, to keep them safe, to respond to their needs. And when accusations are made towards the adults here and our school family and our school community that we allow things to happen, to me, that's a comment towards our integrity and our character as caring adults. And that frustrates me, because I see the blood, sweat, and tears that these folks around me give your children, my children, each and every day, from the moment they step on a bus to the moment they enter your house in the afternoon after a full day of learning. So doesn't mean that we're perfect. Doesn't mean that we don't have areas to grow and to learn, as we all do. And I think that's a sign of a successful organization and school communities, that we're all learners. We're all trying to get better each and every day. But in the end, we're all here for the same and the right reasons, which is to help our children grow, learn, become the best version of themselves that they can be, and that they're poised to be successful when they leave us upon graduation. And the reality is, we do deal with peer conflicts, social interactions, unhealthy relationships, and things that we categorize as bullying. I mean, that's the reality of having a group of people, especially young people, who are here to not only learn the core academics and the things they need to be successful down the road, but also how to navigate life, how to navigate relationships, how to deal with anxieties and social pressures and demands. And as we know that in today's day and age, with the technology age, social media, all the different pieces that are coming at us, and especially our kids, it's even more complicated than it ever has been in the past. And the key that we hold on to is that the trust that we have with our parents and with our kids, is that when things aren't going the way that we would hope they would go, whether it's a peer conflict, it's a relationship issue, it's a bullying issue, is that communicating to us directly and working with us to help resolve that issue is really how we want to go about it. And there's a variety of ways that we can do that, and a variety of resources that we use, and people, from our social workers, counselors, principals, teachers directly, parapros, bus drivers, our kitchen staff. Everybody's part of the solution. And what we don't want is using the internet or social media to help resolve problems, because that, I've never seen that be productive. It divides us, and it creates two sets of camps. And we see that regardless of what the issue is, there's always going to be two sides to every situation. And unless everyone knows the details of the situation and understands the complexities that often go with these pieces, it's really difficult to get a clear picture of the scenario at hand. And we totally understand why this occurs. We as parents, when our kids are hurting or they've been hurt emotionally or physically, that is the biggest trigger for all of us. And so there's no judgment when parents are upset. We totally understand it. We want parents to be upset, because if a parent's not upset and they're not advocating for their kids, I think there's a bigger issue there. And so the key is how we go about resolving it and working in partnership. And I'll be honest, sometimes the perception is when there's an issue in school and it doesn't stop immediately, the perception is the school's not doing anything, or they're not responding to it, or we're sweeping it underneath the rug. And the reality is, especially in complex situations and working with young people who are just gaining the appropriate coping skills and understanding and emotional maturity that they need to handle these sometimes very difficult situations, it takes time and it takes multiple strategies. Sometimes we'll put a strategy in place and it's not working, so we need to do something else, or we need to involve more people. And it could take weeks, and sometimes I've been in a situation it's taken a month to resolve. But we never give up and we never stop trying, and that's the key. And that's how it works in real life. And schools are not these utopias where our kids walk in a door and the reality is that we can do things in an instant to stop the challenges that face us in life. And I wish that was the case, but that's not the reality. And I tell people all the time, there's no magic pixie dust that is sprinkled over our kids or adults when they enter our building. When our kids are impoverished at home, they're impoverished in school. When our kids are having emotional scars, maybe from abuse, whether it's emotional abuse or domestic violence at home, or there's substance abuse, those things carry into our schools. When our students have challenges, emotional challenges, learning challenges, those pieces come into school. And so the key is, school is the one environment where they'll never have as many adults that care about them, that love them, that are looking out for them, that are trained to look for the red flags and have the strategies to help support them throughout these really difficult years. And life can be challenging. And we understand that. The key is to keep an open mind and in terms of communicating with us, working with us. And sometimes it takes a lot of patience. And that's really hard when our anxiety is high, when once again, we see someone we love and we care about hurting and struggling and saying things that bring great concern. And we know the realities of, school violence, teen suicide, teen substance abuse. And those are every parent's worst nightmare and worst fear. And we know that. And so trying to work and create a school environment that is built on trust, a family setting, understanding diversity in terms of what we bring here in the Pinckney community. We're all different. We all bring different experiences. And we, even as parents, we have our own personal experiences. And for some of us, including myself, that involved being picked on, being bullied at times, not having the healthiest peer relationships. And so when things happen to our kids, those emotions that I felt 30, 40 years ago come right back to the surface. And so we understand that, we acknowledge that. But once again, these are complex situations and they're not going to be resolved on social media. They're not going to be resolved in a short period of time. It takes work and it takes us to work together. And so all I ask and what we want people to do and continue doing is, if you have a concern as a parent, you contact us directly. We pride ourselves in being a small community, an intimate, a very personalized one, where a phone call, a text message, an email, stopping in and seeing us personally, you let us know that, hey, I've got a concern and we need to work together to resolve this. And so we can engage our principals, once again, our school social workers. We have a great team of student family specialists in this district, high school counselors, and we have support ancillary staff from LESA that we tap into, behavior specialists, and even including myself. I've been part of many teams helping them and helping guide the process of finding a solution to resolve any type of issue. And I know there's a lot of parents out there who have a lot of success with that. And sometimes it is a struggle. And sometimes there are parents who feel like it's hopeless and they have to leave and they have to maybe take their child somewhere else. And that's not what we want either. But we also know that parents, they're the greatest advocate and voice for their kiddos. And if they feel like that's the best opportunity to have a new start and a new change, we're going to support them with whatever decision that they make. And so it's tough, especially this year after the pandemic. I think we've voiced that we've seen an increase in just peer relationships, aggression throughout the nation. They've seen an uptick in fights at the high school. There's just a lot of emotions that we're all carrying based on what we've all worked through and endured for the last 2 years. But the key is, use what makes Pinckney Community Schools, our community as a whole, different and unique, which means it's our sense of community. It's the sense of, we're all here because we want this to be the best place for us to live, for us to work, for many of us to retire, to have our kids go to school, to play sports. And we're all working hard to make that a reality. It doesn't mean we're not going to make mistakes along the way. It doesn't mean we're going to be able to solve every issue. But I believe our hearts are always in the right place, our intents in the right place, and I can say with full confidence that the adults that I have the honor and pleasure of working with each and every day are here for the right reasons. And I want our parents to know that. And it's very easy for folks on social media or out wherever they're at to make judgments without really knowing us. And I've always put out my phone number, my email. I will accept anybody to come on in to sit and chat with me, to walk around our schools, to meet the people who are working on the ground floor with our kids each and every day, helping them through these challenging times. And being an adolescent and being a child in this day and age is extremely challenging, given the many different things that are pulling and pushing them in terms of life expectations and the pressures that they're facing. So with that, thank you for just spending a little bit of time watching this. And so once again, if you have any questions and concerns, our principals are great. We will respond to emails, phone calls within 24 hours, if whenever possible, if not shorter. Many of you reach out to me as well, and I appreciate that, because we are here once again because we love the kids in PND schools and throughout our entire community. I don't care what school they go to. We're all here because we love kids and we want them to be successful. So thank you. I appreciate you just once again being engaged, being an invested parent, community member, and as always, go Pirates.